Good Yontif. Someday, when you're not prepared, maybe when you're not in the best mood, maybe not able to go home to change, you might be standing on a street corner, minding your own business, and suddenly you're splashed by a car driving by. Or you'll accidentally leave your phone at home on the same day that you have a very important meeting about to call. Or your computer will decide it needs to update right now, exactly when you need to be on a Zoom call. Or someday, a bird will poop on you. Yes, it will. For some of us, a bird has already pooped on us sometime in our lives. Sue Salvi wrote a marvelous children's book called literally, Someday a Bird Will Poop on You. It is subtitled A Life Lesson. It begins, sometime in the long life ahead of you, there will be a day when a bird will poop on you. Because there are birds up in the sky, and there are people down below, and you are one of those people. By adulthood, we all know, poop happens. Things go wrong. We don't get to choose how or when or why these things happen. They can be messy and unfair. They can be infuriating and exasperating. The book continues. Probably every single day, somewhere in the world, someone is getting pooped on by a bird. Maybe right now even, as this book is happening to you, it just happens. You won't know when, other than it'll be at the worst possible time. Of course, we should acknowledge or even admit to ourselves that we are out of control of so much in our lives. But ultimately, that's not what matters. So the book goes on. So, on that day that the bird poops on you, you have a choice. You can get really mad and cry and stomp and yell, "I don't want this to happen!" Rah, grr, grr, and let it ruin the rest of your day. Might you be able to relate to that response? I say absolutely. Especially at the end of a long day when you're at the end of your rope and you just can't deal with one more thing. But then the book suggests, or you can remain calm, wash it off, maybe laugh about it too, like this, har har. Then think to yourself, now chances are I won't have another bird poop on me for a while. And if one does, what a hilarious story that will be. So here's the kicker. Here's what we can control. We can remain calm and laugh it off. We can keep it in perspective. It likely won't happen again. And if it does, well, we can react calmly once again. Isn't that just a tremendous way to approach life? I love this book. First of all, by discussing it here with you tonight, I get to say poop from the bima multiple times. And of course, it's all in the service of maintaining the integrity of literature. But even more so, it addresses with humor and a gentle hand one of humanity's biggest questions. Why do bad things happen? Interestingly, it doesn't even attempt to answer that question. Instead, it offers us advice on how to cope. Because some of the bad things that might happen, we know all too well, are actually quite serious or severe. A second reason I love this book is because it reminds me of another influential and important work, which does not ask why bad things happen to good people, but rather when bad things happen to good people, by Rabbi Kushner. The title alone is an acknowledgement that yes, bad things happen, and we will suffer to varying degrees, depending on what has befallen us at a given moment. Jewish thinkers have wrestled with this question, why do bad things happen, for millennia. The Torah wanted us to believe in a very simple system, reward for the righteous and punishment for the wicked. Yet, we wisely know this is not how the world works. By the time of the Mishnah and the Talmud eras, between the years 200 to 500 CE, the rabbis began to take a more nuanced view of good and evil. The rabbis of the Talmud suggested that suffering must mean there's a hidden sin that you've forgotten about, or perhaps a test from God. There we can hear their struggle, and we also know how unsatisfying still this answer feels. Then the next major shift in belief is found in the teaching of the Jewish mystics in the late 12th century. The Kabbalists later taught that the world is broken from the start. Divine light shattered into sparks scattered everywhere. Evil, illness, and loss come from that fundamental brokenness. But every mitzvah, every act of kindness, every thoughtful deed or encounter gathers sparks back together in tikkun olam, healing, literally healing the world. And thus we're given back some degree of control in these powerless situations, perform acts of tikkun olam, and bring back more goodness into the world. In the 20th century, Rabbi Milton Steinberg proposed limited theism. God is all good, but not all powerful. The laws of nature unfold on their own, sometimes tragically. And it's not that God chooses one person over another, but that God can't stop every disaster. For some, this can be very unsettling to think about. For others, it might just feel more honest. These various Jewish thinkers' theories are examples of how the traditional view of why bad things happen have shifted throughout Jewish history. And yet, how many of us are stuck with the belief from 2,000 years ago that bad things happen and that we are somehow to blame? How many of us are stuck with the belief that the evil presented to us is a test of some kind, one that we wouldn't be given if God didn't think we could handle it? Often clergy or well-meaning friends or loved ones who don't know how to comfort someone coping with a recent loss or struggle because of our inner conflicts concerning why there's evil in the world might offer this as words of help. But Rabbi Harold Kushner, in When Bad Things Happen to Good People, quotes writer Harriet Schiff, who had lost her young son. And a clergy member told her, "God only let this happen because you are strong enough to handle it." Her reply, "If only I was weaker, Rabbi would still be alive." That's the cruelty of bad theology. And I refuse to say such things to you. When I survived a life-altering car accident 20 years ago, I did not believe that God punished me or rewarded me. Too many stories contradict that. We know too many. Instead, I see God not as the cause, but as the presence that helps us endure. This is true for the mildly infuriating, annoying things that happen, or all the more so for the terrible, random, heartbreaking things that happen. And perhaps in the end, I'm a limited theist, like Rabbi Milton Steinberg or Rabbi Kushner. So, a bird pooping on you is the child-sized version of tragedy, unexpected, unfair, and unpleasant. Illness, grief, loss, these are the grown-up, life-altering versions. From the silly to the serious, life throws us things that we did not plan for. We don't get to choose what lands on us, but we do get to choose our next move. And I think that ultimately, we tend to ask the wrong questions. The questions should not be, why did this happen to me, or what did I do to deserve this, but instead, how do I cope with this? Or, now that this has happened, how do I respond? This book teaches kids how to laugh at life's messiness. Kushner teaches adults to lean into perspective and compassion and faith. So whether it's a ruined shirt or a broken heart, the Jewish response is the same. Don't look for blame. Instead, reach for each other. Reach for God. Reach for joy when you can. If we can help kids laugh when the bad things happen, maybe they'll be better equipped to face heartbreaks that can't be wiped away so easily. The children's book helps us giggle at the little messes. The grown-up book helps us face the big ones. Because yes, life will splatter all of us. Will we let it harden us? Or will we choose to meet it with resilience, humor, compassion, and faith? O Holy One of blessing, you know that life is sometimes messy. A bird may poop on us. A sudden storm may drench us. A heartbreak may break us open. Teach us, O God, not to ask only why me, but to discover how shall I respond. Give us the strength to wash off what can be washed, courage to endure what cannot be undone, and compassion to lift one another through the hardest days. When laughter breaks through our tears, may we feel your presence in our joy. When friends come forward to help, may we feel your presence in their love. When we face the world's brokenness, may we gather sparks of goodness in acts of kindness and justice. God, help us to meet life's challenges with resilience. Remind us always that even when these bad things happen, so does love, so does joy, and so does God's steadfast presence. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May all of this be your will, O God, and may it be our sacred task. Amen.